Allow me to repeat my encouragement to send your stories to Sister Rebecca and the family through letters, emails, and Facebook messages again. It feels good. I know that when I cross that pearly gates on that north gate, as specified to Pastor Barizo, he would say, "Well done, good and faithful Aldie. You have kept most of them in 3 minutes." At this time, we're going to be hearing from April Barizo Alcantara.
On behalf of the Barizo family, just looking at everybody here, thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives to share this celebration of my dad's life. I know a lot of people have traveled as far as Texas, New York, just to be here. There's family and friends watching even live via internet in Philippines, Guam, Washington. So everybody, thank you. There's also food after the service. The churches that my dad has been at, South Bay, Philam, El Cajon, the Indonesian church, Chula Vista Church, they're all in the back. So after the service, if you can all come and fellowship with our family, there's a tent in the fellowship hall in the back, and we can enjoy some time together. Before I share some memories of my dad, I'm the baby in the family. My dad would let me do what I want. So I get more than 3 minutes. Most of you know my dad as Pastor Barizo. If you remember him, he's always wearing a suit, very well dressed. He's very patient and understanding. Many of you know him, that you can go to him for advice, marriage counseling. You remember him standing at the pulpit with his big smile. Lucky for me, I just know him as Dad. But behind closed doors, not standing at the pulpit, but at home, my dad was that same guy. Very humble, patient. He always had a lot of wisdom. He's somebody that all of us can go to. He's just calm. Now that he's gone, I've lost that calmness. I go to him for that. What I love most about my dad is I couldn't go to him for advice, especially as I got older. I relied on that. Early in my marriage, my dad would give me, this is my favorite piece of advice that he gave to me was, when you're married, your husband comes first, your children second. And he said, not many people believe that. He says, but I do, because in a marriage, if your marriage is strong, your children benefit from that. And when I got married, I vowed that that's what I would do with Jig. We make our relationship a priority, and because of my dad. Early in my marriage, I was in the hygiene program. I was in school 8 to 10, 12 hours a day, and I had a 2-year-old at home, I had a 1-year-old at home, I was nursing, I was tired, I was exhausted, and my dad would babysit, and he would say, always just remind me, your marriage first, okay? I know you're tired, but take care of your husband. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? But I was at school one day and I had clinicals, I had this newborn, I'm not sleeping, and I came home, and my dad babysat my kids. And for a while, I don't know if, for you that don't know, we lived with my parents for a while buying our home, our first home. So I had stuff kept at their house for storage. But when we lived in our new condo, our first place that we bought, my dad babysat my kids. I came home, I had the kids, and my dad went home. Now remember, my dad always said, take care of your husband. I went to my room, and I guess my dad found a box of stuff that I had left at their house for storage. My dad had left out all my lingerie, laid out beautifully on my bed, every nice piece. So that proper pastor that you know, he's wise. He's wise, but he has a sense of humor, and I will miss that about my dad. The last couple of months, when my dad got really sick, I kind of neglected my family. I told my husband, you're not first, it's my dad. So I hardly saw my kids. I would wake up, get my kids ready for school, take them to school. I drop off my 2 older ones so my in-laws can take them to school. And I'd leave my other kids with Auntie Mercy, and if I'm not working, I'd be with my dad. But in the last 2 months, I think I'll cherish those times the most. He was weak, towards the end, but we would stand at the side of the bed, and at the side of bed, we would just stand there and hug. And we would hug just for minutes, and I could smell him. He would put his head here on my neck. And then other times we would go outside in the backyard, and we would sit under the calamansi tree in his backyard. If you've never been there, his backyard looks like children live there. He made us a big sandbox, 2 swings, another swing off of the tree house. There's 2 tree houses, there's a zip line. No kids live there. But my dad loved our kids, and he was doing the same kind of things that he did for his own children. Always a tree house in the backyard. But we would sit under the calamansi tree, and I would massage him. I would massage his feet. I like to pick at things, and I would give him manicures and pedicures, and if you see him, his nails are really nice. But we would sit under the calamansi tree, and I've learned a lot about my dad. He's told me a lot about the things that make him happy, the things that make him sad. Those quiet moments that we had together is something that I'll always cherish. My dad had gray hair, and I was the cause of a lot of those gray hairs. But he was always patient and forgiving, and he wasn't a dad that yelled. He would never, not once has he ever yelled at me, and I've fallen short of that with my children. But he's just so patient, and I was feeling really lost towards the end when we were at the hospital. I would talk to him. We would take shifts. My mom would sleep, and I would hang out with my dad. The last words he said to me, I would always tell him, you're going to be okay, we're going to go home. And he would always tell me, yeah, even after things were done, don't worry, because I'm going to take your mom on a cruise. And the last time I spoke to him, I said, you're going to be okay, right? And we were just hugging, what we usually do. the last words that he said to me, we were just hugging, and he said, "I love you, baby. I love you and Mommy. And I just want you to be okay." He was so worried about us. Up to the end, that's all he cared about was my mom. He loved my mom. Nothing else came first, not even his children. It's my mom. They were inseparable. And to see my dad go, a part of my mom's gone. They were inseparable, and my dad was a good dad. But I thank you for coming. My dad taught me about death. I was never afraid of death. Since I was younger, he'd bring me to funerals, and when I see a closed casket, I feel like I'm gypped. Lucky for me, I'm the baby, I got to see him. But he taught me that all you have to do is love God, and death is just a sleep. He doesn't hurt anymore. My daughter doesn't have to say, "Papa, owie." He's not in pain, and he's just resting in God. And one day we'll all see him in heaven. Thank you for coming.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.